blessed people. The time now is about 1:39 a.m. East African time, and today being 28th of November, the year 2025. And I want to come to you with a very important conversation the Lord has had with me, a very, very serious conversation that the Lord Almighty has had with me regarding the mission that we are living to. Right now we are departing. We are on departure mode. Everybody is prepared to leave now for the big mission that's taking place in Europe. We have this big mission that is taking place in Europe at this time. And the Lord Almighty today, He spoke with me at great length, and also yesterday spoke with me at tremendous detail about the mission of the Lord to the nations in Europe. Now, this year, the mission of the Lord to Europe is going to be in France, in Paris, France, where we're headed to now, and then to Tallinn, Estonia after that, and then we'll finalize with the big meeting in Helsinki, Finland. And it is a tremendous time that the Lord Almighty has decided now to pursue a deliberate effort to prepare the nations. And that's why we're coming to you live at this time. Now, yesterday, the Lord Almighty spoke to me about this massive mission coming up in Europe. And He showed me the most humongous, probably I have not seen the freshest anointing of the Lord poured upon His servants than what I saw yesterday. The Lord has increased the anointing very, very, very tremendously. It's unbelievable. And then it's the freshest anointing, the newest anointing, the freshest anointing that I have seen so far, ever since the Lord Almighty did stand me before His throne in heaven, and at that place, and made me have the conversation with John the Baptist, who walked from the throne. He walked and disappeared in me. And then I saw the moon glorious. He showed me now the moon glorious on the horizon of the expanse above the earth. And then the horsemen released under the moon. They were flowing, and the moon was swathed, partly swathed with blood, the blood moon. And then the events you see happening in Jerusalem also in that conversation. So ever since then, that landmark dispatch and the commissioning of the messengers of Yahweh, I have not seen this level of anointing that the Lord has now poured upon He that speaks with you right now, He that is speaking with you right now. And this comes at such a time when we are having three nations ahead of us here. The mission of the Lord to Paris, France. You remember last time when we came to Paris, France, there was that's last year, very tremendous visitation of open heaven. And rain came down at one command at the altar pulpit. That is the rain, the visitation of the Godhead. The visitation of the Godhead that you see being featured, being serialized on radio right now. And that is a monumental landmark visitation. That is a visitation that comes and is a deliberate visitation that the Lord uses to connect the Old Testament with the New Testament. So it's a very serious, pivotal time, turning point for life on this earth, for you to see that visitation that you saw in Caracas, and 28 times, other times on the earth. And so this is the nature of the time we have gotten into on this earth and in the Church of Christ. So the Lord Almighty yesterday what he did, he cut the leaves of the tree of life. They are bigger leaves, they are huge leaves, and he brought those leaves and he placed them in my hand. And after that, he also, because there were so many, my hands could not hold all. Then he laid some of them, he placed some of them on where, because I don't want to go very deep into the conversation, the meetings I have with the Lord. But in that place, venue of meeting, now I'm crossing a little bit of the axis between men and these two servants of the Lord and the Lord himself. Then he arrayed them on the seat where somebody was sitting. In this conversation that I had with him, he placed them there. Huge fresh leaves that he had cut and placed in my hand, and he laid the rest that I couldn't hold over there. And he said, these are for the healing of the nations. Go prepare the nations for the glorious coming of the Lord. So that is now the nature of the conversation yesterday. Today I've shared with you a little deeper on even how he that speaks with you here has encounters, meet like a friend meet a friend with the Lord Almighty and discuss this mission. So owing to yesterday's conversation, I've shared this. So and then he places the leaves over there. And then today the Lord Almighty, now he comes in this very big visitation, monumental, and he showed me how the leaves now flourished. They flourished tremendously. And I've never seen this level of anointing the Lord pour on his servants ever since the missions began. And the freshest ever I have seen. Because what he did, he presents them to me from afar. And then from afar, he also allows me to see the tree of life from afar. And then the anointing he has poured on me, on his servants, for this mission at this time, critical mission as you can tell. Then, at that time, then he showed me the flourishing of the freshest anointing ever. The gloriousness of the glossiness and the gloriousness. And he presented it as it consumed the nations I'm visiting in Europe. We are on departure, as you're aware, we're living right now for the meetings in Europe. And the flourishing and the different levels. And the leaves grow. They grow. First, they begin as slender leaves that are growing up to about 2 meters like this, and they cover the entire of the venues where the healing service will be. But they're vast. They really cover the vast of the land. And so, in so doing, they now grow at different levels. Then you see the rest in front become the herbage, the trees now. The trees, the different level of the flourishing of the glory of the Lord, of the anointing of the Lord. And you know, from the way he spoke inside the Ark of the Covenant, this is the conversation I'm bringing to you on a daily basis. From the inside of the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord, when he blossomed Aaron's dry rod, it became budded and flourished and blossomed and produced even fruit. That's what he's shown me here. That is the conversation we've been having with you for so long. So, the flourishing, the blossoming, the anointing. The Lord saying, look, that is the one I've sent. That's the one I've bestowed authority and power to help you, to prepare you for the coming of the King, the coming of the Lord, coming of the reign of Yahweh. This is the conversation the Lord is having with the nations now. That there's going to be visitation, serious visitation. And today we are really very, very blessed that finally the program in Estonia has been brought into the fold of the Lord. It has really blessed our hearts very much. It has blessed the heart of the Lord very much that now even that nation can be prepared for the glorious coming of the Messiah. Very, very serious right now what the Lord has spoken. again is that as we live here, as the Lord has spoken, such tremendous anointing. As we live here, historic. I've not seen it this level. The freshest, the newest, the mightiest, the greatest latter, the greatest of the latter anointing. He has literally poured his glory upon his servants as we live now for the mission that begins in Paris, France, and then it goes to Tallinn, Estonia. Today, the senior church leaders of Estonia were finalizing the program in Estonia. And then we come back to Helsinki, where we also have a meeting in the parliament there, and then the grand conference and healing service in Helsinki, and then we'll be back here to serve the nation of Kenya and other nations at Menengai 8. So this is literally the conversation the Lord has laid before the nations. So it's going to be very massive. And so the Lord has spoken a massive anointing, and I see a massive visitation, historic, coming up in Europe. And I want to you to understand that it is going to escalate upwards, cascade upwards into Menengai 8. The Messiah is coming, and everybody needs to prepare the way. Thank you. Todaraba.